back to Random Facts with Shag. Today's topic, flood myths. We will be discussing a few different cultures' flood myths, their commonly shared aspects, what we can learn about humans by studying them, and what we can learn from the movie Almighty by looking at it as a nerdy folklorist. Alright? We need to know what a flood myth is. Do you know what a flood myth is? Neither do I. So, a flood myth is, or a deluge myth is what they would call it, in a narrative, is what they would call a great flood, usually sent by a deity or deities to destroy a civilization, and it's often in an act of divine retribution. If you didn't understand a word I just said, I don't blame you, because I don't understand what I said either. To shorten that up is, a flood myth is a story, and it involves water, it involves a flood, I'd hope, and it's usually sent by like a god or gods because either they're angry at the people, they're angry at the humans because they have not been treating the gods properly, they have not treating each other properly. So it was for divine retribution to restart the world because the gods were like a big middle finger to everybody else. So we're gonna start off the first myth, all right? The first flood myth, the Romans, all right? So the Romans, Europe, all right? So Jupiter, all right? We're looking for common aspects here. Jupiter is the god here, all right? Angered by the evil ways of humanity, resolved to destroy it. God hated these people. He was like, yeet, out of here. Y'all have not been treating me right. I'm not dealing with this. He was about to set the earth to burning.
This ain't it, Chief!
But considered that might set the heaven itself afire. He was about to, but then he realized if I set them on fire, it sets me on fire. So that quickly turned into nothing. So he was like, so he decided to flood the earth instead. With Neptune's help, there comes another god, he caused a storm and an earthquake. Ooh, this boy hated everybody. To flood everything but the summit of Parnassus. I'm gonna shorten this up for you. A male and female treated the gods right, so they're like, you two are gonna live, don't worry, you're gonna be set aside, it's fine. So they flooded the place, those two people were safe, and they were the only people alive left. And he was like, okay, now you two gotta repopulate. Alright, so we're like, okay, end of story, repopulate, world's great. But it's not the repopulation you and I are thinking about right now. He wanted them to repopulate by throwing your mother's bones behind them. And I was like, okay, wait, we're getting a little too descriptive here. We don't need that. Like, please calm down, Jupiter. But I searched up what your mother's bones meant, and in this story, it meant stones. So they picked up a stone. All right, and they did one of these. They repopulated the world by throwing stones at each other. So you get the point. The Romans were interesting. And now we go to the Sumerians. The gods have decided to destroy mankind. God hated these people. So I'm just gonna summarize the rest of this here. So there's a god who warned this king and said, yo, there's a flood coming because I hate you, but it's okay. And he was like, you gotta build a ship, carry animals on it, carry birds on it. I didn't mention, but the Roman story said they were on a ship, they were on a boat. So they were like, okay, it flooded for 7 days, 7 nights. He opened a window in the boat to allow sunlight to enter, and he prostrated himself before the sun god Utu. What does prostrated mean? So prostrated means surrendered. Glad to clear that up. So after they landed, they sacrificed a sheep and an ox, and they bowed down between the gods and was like, thank you for letting me live. And they created him immortal. Good to know. Now we go to southwest Tanzania. The rivers began flooding. God didn't hate these people. So they told these two men to go into a ship, take them with seasoned food. Flood came, blah, blah, blah. This man sent out a dove that came back because, like, it was not, there's no other land. And they sent another bird, and then it didn't come back, so they left the ship, and ta-da. Great story. So I wanted to put a little fun fact in here, like a little fun bit in here. And I found the Russians' version of their flood myth. See, this is completely out of portion. This is what I would call an outlier to the equation, but I thought, like, this really needed to be put into the video because I'm just gonna read straight to straight. To find out why Noah was building an ark, the devil told Noah's wife to prepare a strong drink for Noah. If you are under the age of 16, click off now. It's called alcohol. So Noah got drunk. He was on a party of his time. And he told the secret God entrusted him with to his wife. So the devil hindered Noah's work, and when the ship was finished, he sneaked into, like, the ship with his wife. So, like, the wife was in on this. And I don't know what this Satan was given to his wife. We don't know. I don't think we want to know. But, it's okay. And she tempted her husband into saying the devil's name. I need you to understand what really, like, went on in my head when I, like, read this. When I heard that, she tempted her husband into saying the devil's name. Like, this is literally what I pictured, okay? Say Satan.
No.
I will take the vodka away.
It's Satan.
Yeah. That was a pretty accurate representation of what went on in my head when I read that sentence. So once in the ark, the devil, Satan, he assumed the form of a mouse and gnawed holes into the bottom of the ark. So that's the Russians' version. Okay. So I have to repeat the regular story, the Noah Bible story. God came down and told Noah, build a ship, build an ark. So, and take 2 of every animal with you, and your kids and your family, male and female, and build it and stay on there. The rain fell for a period of 40 days and nights, but the waters have flooded the earth for 150 days, and everything was destroyed. And then when they got off the ark, God said to them, "Oh, there will never be another flood again." So, yep. The whole point of this is, why are these so similar? Like, a flood comes. Sometimes the God is mad at them. Sometimes God is just warning them. But a flood comes. Usually 1 or 2 people bring things with you, or just bring yourself. Everyone dies. Repopulation. There's a boat always involved. Some type of spiritual animal. And a dove in some cases, some type of bird, something with wings. The boat, narc, vessel, the whole point that it's God involved. There's a flood. Sometimes they say it flooded the entire world. It's because since more than 50% of the world population is followers of the Abrahamic religions, it's like most of them are copied from the Old Testament, which is in the book of Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament, and the Hebrew Torah. That's a lot of places in the world, you know what I mean? So they just take it in and was like, okay, let's just change up the story a little bit. These were written between the 16th century and the 12th century BCE. So yeah, that's why these are like really, really similar, because it's like they're all around the same area, and everyone's like, why not? You know? I mean, as humans, we like to steal ideas and things. Like, okay, for example, here's a pen. This pen has the name Title Source on it. So Title Source created this pen. I took this pen from my mom. It's my pen. But if she tries to say it back to me, sometimes, and you gotta change it up a little bit. So let's say I take the cap off my pen. Your pen had a cap on it. My pen doesn't have a cap on it. So therefore, it's my pen. Horrible example. But you get the point. As humans, we like to steal other people's cultures and like, you know, change it up a little bit, but not put credit where it's due. But yeah. And what can we learn about humans by studying them? Just told you, we like to copy. What can we learn from looking at the movie Almighty? If you haven't seen the movie Almighty, I really do recommend it. It's quite a movie. It's all about the Noah's Ark version, but like modern times. I would call it a fracture because nobody dies. Spoiler alert. Nobody dies in it at all. So, you know, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of it being the Ark story. But it's like a whole nother perspective, like, look, we can change it up.